What's going on, everybody? It's Aaron Duncan here, back again with another Panthers video brought to you by Unnecessary Bluntness Sports Talk. And in today's video, we are previewing the game between the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. A game they played last year against each other, but up in Minnesota last year. This time, they're coming down to Charlotte on the road against the Panthers, and we got to preview what's going on because the Carolina Panthers are coming off a tough loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, probably the biggest halftime blown lead, and I think they said about 15 years. So this is a tough one. I was stewing over this game until about Tuesday, but then I had to snap out of it and get ready for Minnesota because this is a tough team where the record doesn't exactly tell the full story of how good they actually are. This team has been very competitive and almost every game has been close, even coming down to a blown field goal against the Arizona Cardinals, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, being that they're 5-0. So this is a team that the Carolina Panthers cannot sleep on because they have some strengths where the Panthers have weaknesses, and it could be a lot more interesting than it would look on paper. So in this video, we're going to go over the key matchups in this game and break down exactly what to look for going forward for Sunday's match. We're starting right now. Before I get into everything, you guys make sure you are subscribed. And like I said, this is Unnecessary Bluntness. I do recap and analysis of the NFL, in particular the Carolina Panthers. So hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to see up-to-date analysis like this, news, film breakdowns, live streams, and stuff like that. And also hit the bell icon. The bell icon is going to make sure you get notification every time I give a video or do a live stream or do announcements and stuff like that. That way you're always in the loop. And please give this video a thumbs up because it really helps me out in the algorithm and helps get the word out and spread it out. So let's do it. But hey, down below in the comments, let me know what matchups you're going to be paying attention to for this game coming up on Sunday. You know, there's a lot of inside matchups that a lot of people may not pay attention to, but let me know how you feel about it down below in the comments, and I'll give you mine. The first matchup we're going to talk about is Dante Jackson versus Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is one of the great young talents at wide receiver. He's a top 10 in yards this year and receiving yards. But Dante Jackson on the other side is having a career year in his contract year. Both of these guys are LSU products, but Justin Jefferson's route running is pretty precise, but Dante Jackson is trying to prove that he can match up with some of the best receivers in the league. So this is going to be something to pay attention to. Dante had his first interception of the season last week. He also had a forced fumble. So 2 turnovers in one game by a corner is great, especially with all the competition that they've been bringing in with Gilmore, C.J. Henderson, and obviously the drafting of J.C. Horn. Dante Jackson has really stepped up his game, so him matching up with Justin Jefferson, their best receiver, is going to be something to watch. Jefferson scored on us last year in the previous matchup against the Minnesota Vikings just because of route running. Granted, he wasn't guarded by Dante Jackson on that play, but obviously he can be effective, and he had some success last year. So this will be a matchup to watch because I know they're going to try to run the ball with the return of Dalvin Cook. However, you have to pay attention to the guys they have on the outside like Theilen and Justin Jefferson. Like I said, he's been one of the hottest receivers in the league this year. So that is a good matchup to watch because some LSU products going at it. I like what I'm hearing, man, so pay attention to that one. The second matchup I'm going to be looking for is Danielle Hunter versus Taylor Molton. Taylor Molton, obviously our best offensive lineman. It looks like he will be returning to his normal position of right tackle after playing left tackle some last week and having a moderate performance against the Eagles. Of course, we're in a loss, but the Minnesota Vikings, they're one of the hottest teams when it comes to getting the quarterback, having one of the highest pressure ratings when it comes to rushing the passer, and they're obviously second in the league in sacks. That's a recipe for disaster because this Panthers offensive line has been struggling. So you have the Panthers' weakness going against the strength of the Vikings. Inside out, they're pretty good all over, but with Everson Griffin and a guy like Danielle Hunter on the other side, it's something to pay attention to. But hopefully our best offensive lineman in Taylor Molton can be a mainstay on the edge and neutralize one of their best pass rushers on that side. Obviously, like I said, Taylor Molton's natural position is right tackle. Hopefully he'll be back there, but unfortunately he'll be on the opposite end of Cam Irving, who could be seeing Everson Griffin or Danielle Hunter, depending on if they switch or depending on what type of blitzes and stuff they take. But I'm still going to be paying attention to that matchup on the edge because that's our best guy going against one of their leaders and best guys on their defensive line. So strength on strength, we will see what happens. And the next matchup I'm going to be looking for, just to piggyback off that, is Sam Darnold versus that pressure. Because we've seen the formulas out there. Without Christian McCaffrey, if you pressure Sam Darnold, he's not pretty sure of what's going on. He can make mistakes. He's going to force things. He's going to make bonehead plays. And so Teams are going to be getting after him. They're going to try to get after him. You see what the Eagles did by rushing 4 and getting after him. They're going to see the Vikings can do the same thing with 4, because like I said, they're second in the league in sacks. Danielle Hunter is their leader with 6 sacks total, but all over that defensive line they have talent from Dalvin Thompson and Everson Griffin and Sheldon Richardson. So it's going to be tough, especially on the interior. Hopefully they can neutralize that interior rush, because it seems like Darnold can't avoid some of the rush from the outside to a certain extent. But interior pressure is a recipe for disaster for almost any quarterback in the NFL, especially one like Darnold that struggles against that pressure. Without his safety blanket of Christian McCaffrey likely playing because of that hamstring, what will Sam Darnold do? Is he going to be able to learn from his mistakes from the Eagles and be able to be smart, stay poised, keep going through his progressions, and grow? Because Christian McCaffrey or no good offensive linemen are coming back to save you this week. You have to make adjustments and be able to play. We have plenty of weapons on the outside that are getting open. It's not on Joe Brady. Joe Brady is scheming guys open. Robbie Anderson was getting pissed off on the sideline because, 1, he's getting open, and 2, they're not running routes like double moves and stuff, and defenders are sitting on them because they could become predictable in the route running because, A, they know we don't have time to get the ball downfield because of the offensive line, and B, there's only a certain amount of routes you can run in that limited amount of time. So defenders are guessing correctly. Receivers are getting frustrated. It don't matter how much talent we have on the outside. If we can't protect Sam Darnold or he can't thrive under the pressure when the time is there, it's all for naught. So pay attention to the Sam Darnold versus this pressure and pass rush from the Minnesota Vikings. And another matchup is just flipping on the other side, though, with receiver versus cornerback. And it's going to be DJ Moore versus Patrick Peterson. Now, I don't know if Patrick Peterson will be shadowing, but Patrick Peterson is a wisely vet with ball skills. He hasn't been having a great year, but a cornerback with ball skills, it's a recipe for disaster. Sam Darnold seems to like throwing today. He threw 2 interceptions to Trayvon Diggs, who has great ball skills, and 2 interceptions to Darius Slay last week. So with DJ Moore being the primary guy and getting a lot of targets, there may be opportunity for Patrick Peterson to take advantage. But DJ Moore is going to have a chance to prove himself against a vet corner in this league that, like I said, he may not be the perennial guy and Pro Bowler like he used to be, but he's still a vet and somebody that DJ Moore can probably take advantage of, or hopefully take advantage of, because he's been our clear and beyond the best receiver this year. He's been the most productive receiver this year. He's number 9 in the league when it comes to receiving yards. Can he keep it going and have a bounce back game? Last week was a little bit slow for him. It was a little bit slow for everybody in the offense as a whole. But can DJ Moore get things going and lead this offense from the outside? Because without Christian McCaffrey, clearly DJ Moore is the next best option. So pay attention to Patrick Peterson versus DJ Moore. The last matchup to watch is not even going to take place on the field per se, or at least between the white lines. It's going to be Matt Rule versus the clock. Now, Matt Rule is one of the worst clock managing coaches in the NFL. He burns timeouts like they're going out of style. Like, this dude, I just don't understand how poorly you can manage the clock when it comes to getting in and out of the huddle, having awareness in the game. They just burn timeouts on the regular just from delay of games, mental errors, people not being in where they're supposed to be. And last year, it was a close game against the Vikings. Even though Jeremy Chin scored 2 third-quarter touchdowns, we still gave the game away. Remember the missed pass from Teddy Bridgewater to DJ Moore because they claimed they rushed out of the huddle. They were up against the play clock. Remember the mismanagement of running the clock out when they had the lead, even though the Vikings had a muff punt by Chad Beebe just to turn around and give them plenty of time and let Kirk Cousins drive down the field and throw a game-winning touchdown to Chad Beebe? Yeah. Matt Rule mismanaged the clock, mismanaged the game plan at times. They get too conservative. Last week, they just can't turn it on in the second half for some reason because they're not coming out of the huddle correctly. And it just seems like managing the game as a whole and managing the timing and the aspect of working the referees, working the challenges, it's just a struggle for Matt Rule. And if you're not an offensive play caller or a defensive play caller, what are you doing in the game? You should be a CEO and be able to operate the game in a good way and work the clock, take your chances on the 4th down and stuff. So just managing the game and the clock in general and timeouts has been a struggle for Matt Rule. So he can't blow this game against the Minnesota Vikings like he did last week when we had a lead, or last year when we played the Vikings and we had plenty of time to run the clock out or really put them away. So pay attention to Matt Rule and his clock management of these timeouts in the first half and the second half too. So like I said, you guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about the matchups I picked. Did I miss any matchups that probably should make or break this game? Because I think I covered a good amount of them, but I might have missed something. So you guys let me know down below in the comments what you're going to be paying attention to. But without further ado, like I said, be sure to subscribe to the channel for NFL content and Panthers content. I'm Aaron Duncan signing off. I'll see you next time. Peace.